Have you ever found yourself lying in bed, staring at a to-do list that seems to grow longer by the second? You promise yourself you'll start in 5 minutes, but an hour passes and you're still scrolling through your phone, doing absolutely nothing productive. The weight of it all feels unbearable, and one word echoes in your mind: lazy. But what if I told you that you're not lazy at all? What if this isn't a flaw in your personality but a misunderstanding, a psychological illusion? In this video, we'll explore why laziness doesn't define you, uncover the hidden forces behind your lack of action, and most importantly, show you practical ways to break free from this illusion. Let's start with the concept of laziness itself. The word carries judgment, doesn't it? It's often thrown around as an insult, a way to describe someone who lacks drive, ambition, or discipline. But laziness, when examined through the lens of psychology, is not a personality trait. It's a symptom, a signal that something deeper is happening beneath the surface. Psychologists have discovered that what we label as laziness is often the result of overwhelm, fear, or even mental exhaustion. Picture this: you have a mountain of tasks ahead of you. Your brain, trying to protect you, steps in and says, "This is too much." Instead of diving in, you freeze. This isn't laziness. It's a survival mechanism. Your mind isn't refusing to work. It's avoiding discomfort. This brings us to one of the biggest myths about productivity: motivation. We're often told that if we're not accomplishing something, it's because we lack motivation. But here's the truth: motivation isn't some magical force that suddenly appears when you need it. It's a byproduct of clarity and confidence. When you know exactly what to do and believe you can do it, motivation follows naturally. So why do we procrastinate? Think about the last time you avoided an important task. Maybe it was a work project, a difficult conversation, or even something as simple as organizing your closet. Chances are, the task felt overwhelming. Perhaps it was too ambiguous, you didn't know where to start, or it seemed too big, like climbing a mountain without a clear path. Your brain, in its attempt to protect you, chose avoidance. And the easiest way to avoid something difficult is to distract yourself, whether that's with social media, TV, or daydreaming. This avoidance behavior has a name: task aversion. It happens when a task triggers feelings of anxiety, boredom, or confusion. For example, imagine a student who has an essay due in a week. Instead of starting, they spend the evening binge watching a TV series. It's easy to label them as lazy, but what's really happening? To the student, the essay feels emotionally draining. What if they fail to write a good one? It also feels overwhelmingly complicated. How should they even start? The brain sees these challenges as threats and reacts by avoiding them. Understanding this is liberating because it shifts the narrative. You're not lazy, you're protecting yourself from discomfort. But once you recognize this pattern, you can take steps to break free from it. One of the most effective ways to overcome task aversion is to redefine success. Often we avoid tasks because we fear we won't do them perfectly. This perfectionism creates an all-or-nothing mindset, where anything less than flawless feels like failure. But here's a secret: progress is more important than perfection. Instead of aiming for a perfect outcome, focus on simply starting. Tell yourself, done is better than perfect. Breaking tasks into smaller, manageable steps also helps. Let's say you need to write that essay. Instead of thinking, "I have to write 2,000 words," start with something simple like, "I'll write 1 sentence." That first step is often the hardest, but once you take it, the next step feels easier. Another powerful tool is creating a reward system. Your brain loves rewards. They release dopamine, the chemical that makes you feel good. For example, after writing 1 paragraph, give yourself a 5-minute break. After cleaning 1 drawer, treat yourself to your favorite snack. These small rewards reinforce positive behavior and make tasks feel less daunting. Sometimes the barrier to action is simply too high, and lowering it can make all the difference. Psychologist B.J. Fogg suggests starting with tiny habits. If going to the gym feels overwhelming, start with something as small as putting on your gym shoes. If writing a report feels impossible, just open your laptop. These tiny actions create momentum, and before you know it, you're making progress. But what if the root of your inaction isn't the task itself, but the emotions tied to it? Fear of failure, fear of judgment, or even fear of success can create mental blocks. The next time you feel stuck, ask yourself, what am I really afraid of? Often simply naming your fear reduces its power. Finally, it's time to reframe how you see yourself. Stop identifying as a lazy person. Instead, start identifying as someone who takes action, even in small ways. Every task you complete, no matter how minor, reinforces this new identity. It's important to step back and see the bigger picture. Society often ties our self-worth to our productivity, but you're more than your to-do list. Sometimes, what we call laziness is your body's way of asking for rest. It's a reminder to slow down and listen to what you really need. So the next time you feel lazy, remember, it's not who you are. It's a psychological illusion, a signal that something deeper is happening. By understanding the hidden forces behind your inaction, you can stop blaming yourself and start working with your mind, not against it. You're not lazy, you're human. And now you know how to turn this illusion into a path forward.